How to become a gentleman villain. Ed Rostaler said, "Please pardon my discourtesy." As Ed Rostaler and Janica Faylover knelt down before Princess Salaha, Ed Rostaler said, "I didn't think you'd be in my room, Princess Salaha." Princess Salaha said, "Discourtesy? Oh no. Having a few commoner women fawn over you is a classic hobby for noble men. I don't intend to chastise you over your personal life. Don't get too close with the peasants, though. Things will get messy if they end up carrying your child." Janica Faylover blushed and cried as her ego shattered. Princess Salaha said, I've seen many noble men end up being dragged around by common women." "How ridiculous." Ed Rostaler said, "Thank you for your opinion, Princess Salaha. What brings you to see me?" As Janica Faylover, still crying, peeked at Ed Rostaler's expression, Princess Salaha said, "Right. I won't make this long. You'd know after seeing her in person, but Fenia thinks too much. She's unfit to be emperor. So join me instead." As she extended her hand towards Ed Rothstaler said, "I wouldn't dare lay my hands on you, First Princess. I may be of the Rothstaler family, but I cannot bring myself to touch you." Princess Salaha stood up and said, "Ha, you flatter me. I'll allow you to simply speak then." As she became serious and looked at Ed Rothstaler, confused, she said, "You refuse. Your father, Sir Crepin, is sure to support me, so under him, you should choose wisely." Ed Rothstaler said to himself, "That's exactly why. The Frost Princess Salaha gains the powers of the evil god while working with Crepin, but is devoured by Mebular after being unable to fully control its powers. Her ending is one of the worst among the characters in Act 4, so if I had to find an excuse to refuse her." Ed Rothstaler said, "Emperor Kloll's actions have led to a golden age within the empire. This period of time requires a benevolent ruler. I have no doubt that Princess Fenia would be able to fill that role." As Princess Salaha crumpled the paper, she looked down on Ed Rothstaler in anger and said, "Fenia does not seek the throne. Are you aware of that?" Ed Rothstaler said, "Even if she doesn't currently, I will wait quietly by her side." Ed Rothstaler said to himself, "There is no better excuse than Fenia to refuse Salaha." As the room fell silent, Princess Salaha stepped forward and touched Ed Rothstaler's chin. Ed Rothstaler sweated and said, confused, "Huh?" Princess Salaha said, "You make me want you even more." "Huh? I quite enjoy taking things from others. Principles are most beautiful when broken. I wish to see how deep your conviction for Fenia runs." Ed Rothstaler said to himself, "I don't really support Fenia. This has led to a misunderstanding." Princess Salaha said, "Well, there is plenty of time." As she walked away, she said, "This party will go on for 5 days, so you will have more than enough time to realize what sets me apart from her. You may speak to me whenever you change your mind." Ed Rothstaler said, "I thank you for your advice." Princess Salaha said, "Yes, I'll see you again." A few moments later, at night, Janica Faylover said, "I can be quite a difficult person. I may be a commoner, but I don't deserve to be looked down on like that." Ed Rothstaler said, Janica Faylover." Janica Faylover said, "I should have said something like that, like Lortel, right? Ah, that's even more upsetting." Ed Rothstaler said, "You're not the type to say things like that anyways." Janica Faylover said, "She's a princess, she's beautiful, and she's interested in you." Ed Rothstaler said, "That aside, did you gain anything from scanning through this place?" Janica Faylover said, Yeah, it took a while because it was so big, but Mug has some information." Ed Rothstaler said, "Mug?" "Yeah, for some reason, there is a lot of mana emanating from underneath Duke Crepin's personal study, but under his office should be the kitchen. There is no reason for that much mana to flow from there. That is suspicious." Janica Faylover said, "I think you should go in person, but that study is frequented by the Duke, and it's locked down when he's not there, so it won't be easy." Ed Rothstaler said, "We have 5 days, so let's not rush things. My room will always be open, so come whenever and tell me if anything happens." Janica Faylover blushed and said, Here? Your room, whenever?" Ed Rothstaler said to himself, "There's much to do. I haven't even read half of the letters between Arwen and Ed, but staying in my room all day will only invite suspicion from Crepin. I need to read the letters when I can, and investigate Crepin's study. However, to avoid raising suspicion, I need to attend the party as much as I can." The party, Day 1. With a 5-day schedule ahead, excitement was gradually building among the people, and so everyone sought to relax a little before the main events. Until she arrived, Tanya Rothstaler said, "Hello, Princess Salaha. It's an honor to meet you. I'm Tanya Rothstaler, the successor of the Rothstaler family. Princess Silaha said, "Oh, hello, nice to see you. The Rothstaler family has a bright future ahead of them." Tanya Rothstaler said, "I apologize that the party is still quite empty, as it's only the first day." Princess Silaha said, "Oh, don't concern yourself with that. I did come early after all. And I did get to see something fun." As Ed Rothstaler stepped into the room, a peasant said, "Is it him?" Her friend said, "The previous successor, who returned from exile." Ed Rothstaler, another peasant, said, "He seems quite burly. He's definitely bigger than he used to be." Her friend said, "He looks sharp too, like an entirely different person." Princess Selaha said, "You have a good brother." Tanya Rothstaler said, "Yes, I'm proud of him." As Princess Selaha's gaze became sharp, she said to herself, "Ed Rothstaler, over the next 5 days, you will see many things. I've also gained the support of Pulchus, who arrives in 3 days and is the deputy of Commander Magnus, who controls the army. As he said, my report." Archbishop Samuel said, "Please take care." Princess Selaha said to herself, "Not only that, Archbishop Samuel of the Telos Order is on my side as well. Yes, I hope you realize many things here. This will be a good opportunity for all of us." The party, day 2, a carriage arrived. The wheeled palace of the Telos Order has arrived, and with it, the authority of the greatest religion on the continent. Many eyes automatically turned to the Saintess. Politically, her support carries immense weight, based on who Saintess Clarice is close to and what discussion she has. The entire political landscape could shift. And so, Selaha, in her ambition, has made contact with the new Archbishop Samuel, a close servant of the Saintess. Des brings flowers and said, "Freesias represent purity, innocence, and everlasting friendship. There is no flower that better represents the Saintess. It also represents your wish for friendship between the two of you." Princess Selaha said, "As always, your gift selection is impressive, Des." Des said, "You flatter me." Princess Selaha said, "I've already spoken with the Archbishop, so I will surely be the first to speak with the Saintess, right? There is no reason for us to approach her aggressively. Let's just leave a good impression." Archbishop Samuel sweated and said, The thing is, the Saintess is not here currently." Princess Selaha was shocked and said, "What?" In a different scene, Saintess Clarice said, "To be meeting with you here in your own home, it feels quite different. It feels almost romantic, like a chance meeting in a foreign destination." As the maid and butler sweated in fear, Ed Rothstaler said, "It's an honor." Saintess Clarice held the calloused hands of Ed Rothstaler and said, "Honor, the honor is mine," as she blushed a little. A few moments later, Ed Rothstaler said, "Saintess, we managed to leave with the excuse that you wish to see the mansion, but your position inherently draws attention. Shouldn't you act with that in mind?" "Room of Arwen Rothstaler." Ed Rothstaler said, "What made you act so rashly?" Saintess Clarice said, "I used to care when I was in the Holy Imperial Capital." Ed Rothstaler said, "I was quite worried actually." Saintess Clarice said, "I was happy to hear that you'd been reinstated, but I didn't think they'd treat you well." Ed Rothstaler said, "Well, people didn't like me before either, so I was going to make an example of anyone who treated you harshly, but thankfully that doesn't seem to be necessary." As Saintess Clarice stepped down on the ground, Ed Rothstaler said, "Even if they do, that is my burden to bear." Saintess Clarice held the rough hands of Ed Rothstaler in an instant and said, "Don't keep trying to shoulder it all on your own." Ed Rothstaler was shocked and confused, and he said, "What do you mean?" Saintess Clarice said, So, take advantage of my position. If you stand by my side throughout this party, surely nobody will dare treat you with disrespect." As she blushed and looked away, Ed Rothstaler said, "If you use phrases like 'take advantage of' so openly, it makes the one accepting your offer a weirdo." Saintess Clarice looked down and said, I mean, that's not it. I'm just saying it would be better to act in a way that benefits you, and I too can also, It's hard to make an argument with all these excuses. Fine, I'll stop making up reasons. I need a partner for tonight." As she looked at Ed Rothstaler and pressed Ed Rothstaler's rough hands against her chest, she said, "Would you dance with me during the banquet? Because doing so should be good for your reputation, and it could also be good for me, or maybe not, but I think it would be more beneficial than not." As her voice trembled, Ed Rothstaler said, "Didn't you just say you'd stop making up reasons?" Saintess Clarice said, "You don't have to point that out, Ed. Anyways, I am going to refuse all requests to dance with me tonight, except one." As Ed Rothstaler sweated and was silent, Saintess Clarice walked away and said, "Ahem, I'll get going now. I do need to meet the other guests here." There may be some who are displeased that I came here to see you first, Ed Rothstailer said. But why did you? Saintess Clarice looked back at him and said, Who knows? As she shut the door closed, Ed Rothstailer was shocked as the cabinet opened. Tanya Rothstailer came out and said, Brother. Ed Rothstailer, shocked, said, Tanya? Why are you? Tanya Rothstailer said, I came here to look for your coat, and had finally found it, but the Saintess. No, that's not important now. What are you thinking? Janica, Lucy, and now Saintess Clarice. How am I supposed to act around them? Ed Rothstailer sweated and said, Tanya. Suddenly, Ed Rothstailer's head hurt, and he said, I don't know. Outside, Saintess Clarice, exhausted, said, Ha ha. And she said to herself, This isn't Sylvania Academy. This is a social gathering. Being good at magic, being rich, being older, none of that matters here. As she smiled and blushed, sweating, she said, Anyways, I have the most authority while we're here. Tonight, at the banquet at least, there's nobody who can stop me. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to help me grow my channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going and get those analytics buzzing. Until next time, take care.